Hopefully it doesn't pick her up too much. But it is what it is. Okay, cool. It says I'm live. Yep, perfect. Let me post it on here and on here. Can't tell if it's working or not. I gotta open up my phone. Alright, it is working. Maybe. It says I'm live. Okay. Let me send this out. Oh, cool. It loaded finally. Perfect. There we go. That works. Let me just send this out and I'll get into this. I'm just trying to push my 2080 Ti and 5800 to the max. See what kind of scores I can get. Here is what I'm trying to aim for. That's the max scores right now. I don't think it loaded fine. There we go. Overall score on TimeSpy is 163684. The other one is 7731. So let me just post this here. And then we'll get into it. Actually, while this goes, I can run a stock benchmark. It's almost stock. You can see that GPU's all set to nothing. The only thing that's not stock on the CPU is the memory is overclocked slightly, and we'll overclock it further. But for now, I'm just gonna start at mostly stock settings. So let's run TimeSpy. TimeSpy is easier than running the TimeSpy Extreme, so I'm hoping to get the top score for that one before I can get the other one. Extreme's also a little more temperature dependent. All right, so that's gonna run. Let me switch my screen. So let's see what this scores. I think stock 2080 Ti and 5800X will be around 14,000, I believe. So we'll see. And then the highest one is 16,000, looks like. So while it's running, here's what I'm trying to get at. So 16,000 overall, 17,000 GPU, about 13,000 CPU looks like. Sorry. Turn off notifications. I don't know how to do that. I get Twitch notifications too. It blocked it. Too many people. So right now my fans are blowing at 100%. Give it the best chance. The reason I wanted to do this is, let me see if I can show you. Basically, it's gonna be really bad. My CPU is independent of my GPU right now because I got a new 5800X and it's a huge dud. Just can't overclock at all. Memory can't overclock. It just sucks. Um, so I switched it out and I didn't feel putting my block back together. So while my CPU is independent of my GPU, this is going to be my best temps for my GPU and my CPU because they're all independent of each other. My wife probably just got me banned from singing, so we'll find out. So my CPU, my streaming computer, it says it's at 80% usage. I can't change the settings now, unfortunately. So hopefully it doesn't drop packets. It hasn't dropped anything yet, so it looks like it's fine. I only had it at 30 FPS, so it can't be that bad. So after this finishes, I'm gonna focus on the CPU, try to get as high as I can, and then focus on the GPU, do them independently. CPU is stock right now, except the memory, so there's definitely a headroom there. Alright, let's see what we got. I'm gonna record over here. So this is basically stock. Overall score, so let me make that. And then GPU and CPU. So if you compare that to others, there's about 2,000 points on the GPU that's left, and about 1,000 on the CPU. It's kind of margin of error, some of these. All right, let's record that. 14,743, 15,355, 12,031. Okay, and then comment. I'll be stock here. Stockish. This is 3,600, 1,800 memory. That's why it's not stock. Okay, so the next easy one to get my score up is push the CPU. All right, perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is just let the auto overclocker take care of the overclocking. I will, whoops, where'd I go? Accept. I'm going to try and see what I get out of this. So PBO limits disabled is kind of what I've seen is the best for me. The reason is I don't hit any of these limits, so it actually stays cooler. Should be fine. All right, let's see if those settings, what effect they have. So now that the CPU, let me put that here. So this is going to be PBO plus 200, 8x minus 10 curve optimizer. And then the memory is obviously the same. I don't care about the overall, don't care about the, oops. I don't care about those. So I'm going to delete this. Volume 6. 0, 0, and then CPU is what I'm testing now. So yeah, just gonna open 3D Mark, times by, and then only CPU. Let me make this not start. Auto start is off. Okay, and let me do. Let me turn off my NIC card so Windows doesn't try downloading updates or anything like that. Anything weird. Disable. All right, Wi-Fi card's not connecting. Let's turn that off too. So this is just basically don't let the Wi-Fi connect, don't let the Bluetooth connect, don't let it basically start up. Less resources are running, the better results you'll have. So I'm gonna do a custom run, CPU only, and let's see if that improved the score. So that was a plus 200 on the CPU. So plus 200 will be, I'm expecting 50-50 on the CPU, but all core might be around 4.6 maybe. So that's why I want to see if a manual overclock is better or if the PBO overclock is better. Switch back to here. Let's watch that. I know the limits of this 2080 Ti. I was able to hold the record on 3600X and the 2080 Ti for a little bit. So I kind of know what the 2080 Ti is limited. Just the CPU, I'm not sure exactly where it can be pushed. Alright, so let's see what that affected. So yeah, that raised it a little bit. So we'll leave it as that. That's stable enough for me. Don't really care. Actually, let's try. I know what Cinebench is supposed to score. Cinebench is supposed to score around 6100, I believe. So if it's hitting that, then I'm right where I'm supposed to be. If I'm not hitting it, something else is going on. So that's 21. Let's see. Let's see what this guy had. 12,174. So CPU. Yeah, depending what you score in the CPU is how high you score. So some people had a higher GPU but are still down here. So I'm curious whether an all-core overclock will actually put me higher. Because what did I score? 61. That's not bad. Okay, so that's right around where I should be. Let me try to open CPU-Z also. Actually, let's try. Where is HW info? I wanna see what kind of clocks it hits on the CPU only benchmark. So let's hit that. Let's hit reset. Yeah, AJ, you're not happy with this? So AJ, I'm gonna do. Ah, that's not what I wanted. I want a CPU only. Come on, get out. Let's try that again. Benchmark. CPU. There you go. Custom CPU only. All right, let's try that again. Let's reset this. I want to see the sustained clocks it gets. I could probably run it in windowed mode. Thanks. It's the best thing ever. Just wait until you run the benchmarks over and over and over, and then you see these little, yeah, all these little figurines jumping around on your screen. So entertaining. My wife's screaming in the background may be better than what I'm doing over here. Keep telling her to stream. Alright, let's see. So that hit. I don't know. Let me try again. Hey, that's worse because I have all the different programs running. Enable windowed mode. There we go. That's what I wanted. I wish it didn't have to collect the system information every single time. It takes so long just for that step. Alright, so this is running. Why is it running? Did it reset my settings again? Yeah, it's running demo again. I don't want demo. That's fine. I'll do that in a second because I'm gonna change some settings anyway. Alright, so now I'm gonna change the memory to 3800 and FCLK 1900. That's gonna give me a nice little boost, I hope. I'm not 100% sure whether there's an impact on the CPU score by changing the memory. I'm not sure how sensitive 3D Mark is. Haven't done it in a while. So let's try 3800. I'm 1414, 28. This could be 60. So anything lower is usually better. There's diminishing returns at some point for the timings. Um, watch my other stream, you can kind of catch that. Then the rest should be fine. I'll do a suicide run later with the gear down mode disabled, which will give me a boost. But again, I don't know if that affects the CPU score. So for 3D Mark, everything affects everything. Your GPU, if it's too slow, it's going to affect your overall score. If your CPU is not helping your GPU enough, then it's going to affect your GPU score and your overall score. So you definitely want to have your CPU max out at everything, and you want to have your GPU obviously also pushed to the wall. All right, so let's just open HW info because I want to see what kind of clocks I hit on 3D Mark because I know that this CPU can max out at around 4.6, 4.7 gigahertz, all manual overclock. So if it's not hitting that on the benchmark, then I can obviously overclock my CPU to an all core and have a better score overall. But if the single core actually affects it, like the graphics score, then it might be beneficial to have PVO on instead. So that's what I'm gonna try to find out real quick. So let me go back to here. What did I change? This is all the same. The only other thing I did is 3800 and 1900 memory. So this is going to be 0 again, 0 times by, nope, that's extreme, times by, off, off, enabled window. So this should go up a little bit. No other changes were made. I'm curious how much the clock speed changed, how much the score would change, if any. It's going to be lower because I have all these other applications running, like RW info. So I'll close it after this. All right, there it goes. All right, so what I'm going to watch here is the current frequency. So it looks like it's hitting 47.25. So that's pretty good, but the effective is around 40, yeah, 44, 46. So I think if I make it a manual overclock, I'll actually be hitting slightly above that. Look at that. So that already gave a little boost. That's actually cool because I had all these other stuff running. So let's try that. Benchmark. Not windowed. Everything else is closed. Alright, let's see. So just this is going to be the same run as this. Just try and keep track. What was I writing? So the only thing I changed is the no apps. So that's just showing no apps. Everything else was closed. So by hitting 47.25, that's what it's trying to hit. That's better than an all-core overclock. I'll test this now. I'll just, wow, 12. Just by closing things, look at that. 12, 464. Not bad. Okay, so I'm gonna try now an all-core overclock of 4.7. I think I can sustain 4.7 enough for a quick benchmark run and see if that affects my CPU. So I'm gonna write 4.7 at 1.315 LLC1 maybe. So none of this is stable. I doubt it'll actually run the whole benchmark or it'll even, oops, wrong menu. Uh, so I would not run this every day. Let's try 1.315. Yeah. Okay, memory's the same. And I'll run this with nothing open in the background just to see what score I get. I'm kind of thinking that an all core will be better than PBO. That's generally the effect on the CPU score, but it might not be beneficial for the graphics card score. Okay, open this. Nothing else is opening. Nothing else should open. Yeah, nothing else is here. I reinstalled this OS. The other one was failing. It wouldn't reinstall Ryzen Master. It wouldn't do anything, so I reinstalled it. All right, hopefully I can run this really quick before it crashes. Off, off, CPU only. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand why it has to collect info when you start the tool, and then it does another collection when you're running the tool, or like right when you hit benchmark. It just seems redundant to me. It seems like it should be quicker. I wasn't watching the FPS last time. I can't tell if that's lower or higher. I'll just have to look for the score. Okay, let's see. So a little higher, not that much, but still worth doing an all core versus the PBO. So I'm gonna try to push maybe 47.5 on the CPU. I don't think they'll have any other effect other than obviously raising the score a little bit, but I don't think that's gonna be stable anymore. So 12.653. Let's see where I'm at. 12.653. Look at that. So number two guy is 12.653. So right now my CPU score says I should be around around that area. So I'm pretty high up there. So I just have to match the GPU now. So let's try 47.5. So Ryzen lets you go in increments of 25. I know I'm not stable at 48, but 47.5 might be stable enough just for a quick suicide run. I don't know how to make that default the different volume because I have two Windows installs and CSM is disabled. By disabling it now, it forces me to choose every time I boot, which is really annoying. I'm expecting this to crash. Um, the question is just when. Can it finish the benchmark? If it can, that's good enough for me. Um, and if it can't, then I'm gonna have to just stick with 47 or 47.25. So same thing, nothing running, and only CPU. and make a note what my PBO was. Same run, no apps, and this hit 47.25-ish. This is 47. This is gonna be 0. This is gonna be 0. 47 or 7.5 at the same voltage. 1.315 LLC1 and same memory. Let me shrink this. Oops. All right, 12. Yeah, barely any score difference, so it's within the variance. Um, Obviously it's still better. Whether it's better enough and stable enough to actually make a difference, it's questionable. I'll stick with it, just for now. So let's start doing. One thing I want to try actually. If you can tell, she's very enjoying her game. She's a very angry gamer. Alright, so I'll keep this. I will do the same memory. Actually, what I want to try now is let's try 4,000 memory. I'm curious if that'll make a difference. So, so I'll try 4,400. So I don't know if 3D Mark cares about having the lowest possible latency, or does it care about having the highest frequency. So I know this should be stable enough. 1818. Let me check my other scores before I don't want to crash. Try and keep this as least amount of crashes. Okay, so BDI. This is what I did last time. I did 4,400, 1818, 1836. You went way too far, whoever that just was. Okay, let me try 16s. Oops. So let's try 16, 16, 16, 16, and 38, 32, 36 should be. Okay. Yeah, let's try that. So this is going to be a test whether a memory speed affects your your score overall. Let's see if the memory is going through the cycles, and it booted. Okay. So here I'm testing memory impact. Show that. Open this really quick. Um, this is pretty high on the frequency. I'm like right at the edge of stability. Actually, wait, this is the new stick. This is the Trident. This is the Patriot Viper Steel Series 4400 CL19 at 1.35 volts. So I'm running at higher volts and slightly lower cast latency. So this actually should be stable. Okay, so off, CPU test only. Okay, so 4419. I can't push the FCLK any higher than 1900 on this current BIOS, so I'm going to stick with that. Um, now that I am offset with the memory and the FCLK, now it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So the latency between the different CCXs is actually lower than what it would be at 3800. So this is why I'm curious whether there's an impact on the performance or not. It crashed. That looked like a hard crash. That might be a CPU crash. Alright, so rotating it to the codes, and it's coming back. Okay, so let's try just looser timings. Oops, 18, 18, 18, 18, and 40. Let me write the timings down. 18, 18, 18, 30, 40. If this doesn't go, since now there's a lot of impact on the IMC, integrated memory controller, because of the high frequency memory, the core clock of 47.5, even though it was half stable before, it might be completely unstable now. And this is at 1.5 volts. And I've had it 1.5, but just want to note it for myself. If I do this again, benchmark, this one, off, off. So the last time it crashed when the thing from the sky dropped. So it's past the failure point last time. So this is better already. Okay, so that's stable enough. Just as long as it gives me a score, I'll be happy. Yeah, so some benchmarks are... Yeah, see, that's worse. 395. So this tells me that the latency impacts the score, so you want the lowest possible latency. I could double check it just one run and one more time. Yep. Yeah, so this is telling me that since the memory does not match the FCLK, that means that the latency penalty is high enough on this benchmark specifically. Some benchmarks, like let's say ADA64, the bandwidth goes up with higher frequency, but the latency obviously drops because of the mismatch of the FCLK and the frequency of the RAM sticks. So I'm just rerunning it, make sure I didn't run it too quick or something stupid. Yeah, okay, so that's definitely lower. So that tells me that I have to try to max out my